One more time. Hi, y'all. It's Niccara.
And I'm Brandon.
And welcome to another episode of ... But Make It Books.
The podcast where we are bookishly healing through life.
Bookishly.
Bookishly.
Anyway.
Lord.
How are you?
I was going to ask you first.
No.
Why? Why?
What? Huh?
I was going to ask you
what?
first. I am... Woo! It's so funny. It's so funny. I am in I'm in a place where it's like I'm at odds with the fact that we start our podcast with that question.
Yes.
It's like, it's like I love that we do this, but also
feelings?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Always feelings. Always feelings. That's gee whiz, your boy can't sit down sometimes.
Okay.
But moments of joy and rest and relaxation and togetherness with myself, but also like a few people and all of that. I don't know. It's been an interesting ride, and I think that I know that it is all part of this big shift in my life that has happened. Mm-hmm. But I think the shift needs to be even bigger.
Ooh.
I think it needs to be.
You think it's small. You gotta think big.
I'm saying, like, as big as the shifts are in my life right now, I think some of them need to be bigger.
You know what? I feel like I'm in that space too.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that for a minute. I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking, I just gotta have more fun with it.
Yeah. And this way,
yeah.
And this is what I don't want to sound. I mean, it's like because I'm still in the middle of processing everything, right? But like, also, I don't know why I'm restraining this sort of excitement that I have about it. Yeah. Like, it is like, it is like, and sometimes I think about it just and be like, the next thing I think about it, and I'd be like, yeah. It's good.
I gotta have more fun with it. I think we think too much about how things look or how people will feel. Mm-hmm. And I think like we gotta pull a Drake line, even though he problematic AF. As soon as I'm done having fun with it, I'm done with it. Or something that's some iteration of the line. Oh yeah. Yeah. Have fun with it, done with it.
Yeah. I mean, very, very that. Very, very, very.
When I'm done having fun with it, I'm done with it. Like,
so that's interesting. Like that's a. I wonder how that will explore
manifest
with
itself.
Our conversation for today on this one.
Well, actually, it's actually timeless. I mean, it makes.
Let's go ahead. Let's go. So here's the thing. All right. So spoiler alert. Our episode today is about the book An American Marriage by Tayari Jones. Mm-hmm. Let's just both go ahead and say right now real quick that we just love this book.
This book is so good.
We've like, this might be, I don't know if this is my favorite that we've done thus far, but like
it's up there.
It's at least it's top 2 maybe. Yeah. Like it might be top 2. It's definitely up there. Yeah. So with that, thinking about marriage and starting it off kind of light. Also thinking about, to get to the marriage, you have to have a wedding. Yes. So what is, and you don't have to share, Miss, in planning mode right now, but I'm just curious if there is something that's like, what is like an essential for your wedding? Like what?
Open bar.
Yeah. Period. Okay. All right. Got it. Okay. All right. And the snowball has been created. I can't wait to go to your wedding.
Look, I told my daddy, I called him, I said, look, I ain't even asking you to pay for a whole bunch. Yeah. Pay for this open bar. Yeah. That's what I needs. Yeah. Premium liquor. Yeah. Liquor.
L-I-Q-A.
Yes. Yeah. Liquor.
Yeah.
How about you?
I think, food. It's like, yeah, obviously
all
good
right.
food, good food. I was going to try not to be so easy.
No offense.
Because we also got to have a banging playlist. We also have to have a banging playlist. And I feel like I want to create it. Like, I feel like I want to, I feel like
so
I
no
want
DJ.
To. I didn't say that, but okay. I will instruct him. Okay. I don't know, but it's like, we're both talking about the reception here. Yeah. Essentially, it's, so I think it's for me personally, I do have this thing I accepted. I was like, I really don't have too many specifics or desires for the wedding proper other than I look good in a suit. Right. But for the reception, I have a lot of
Not
do's
suit,
and
but
don'ts.
dress, but, yeah.
A lot of do's and don'ts.
Yes. What's your do's and don'ts?
Well, like do's is like great food, dance floor, music.
And what's your don't?
A don't would be, oh no, this is too much. Oh yeah, it's so specific. It's so specific in like a
Lord.
Making me
nervous. My stomach
It's
hurts.
like I'm trying to think. It's so interesting. It's like no, okay, we'll have to.
Okay, we're gonna put a pin in there. You gonna tell me
after
this?
Let's put a pin in that. Maybe
I want to
it'll
know
come out.
later.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see.
I don't really have that many do's and don'ts. Everyone to look beautiful. Everyone to have a good time. Everyone to walk away and say that was lit. My don't really is that don't come to my wedding looking tacky. Mm-hmm. And I will have a dress code. And I will show you examples. Amazon is a great place to buy some stuff. I found some dresses for some folks and some, like, a nice dress shirt and some pants. That's all I really require. Mm-hmm. But don't come to my wedding with some sweatpants on. I'm going to whoop you. And my friends should know better.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of one I definitely share. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, but this is kind of it's not all that special or what have you, but I actually really do love, like, fresh flowers. So absolutely no artificial flowers whatsoever.
That's fair.
Like
it's
none
expensive.
whatsoever.
Sure,
I know, but like it's none whatsoever. Yeah. Like I like that smell and that fragrance and all that stuff.
That's
so that's
fair.
Like that's one that I can share. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I just want a bunch of candles. It's cheaper than flowers.
There will be a bunch of candles too, for sure. I do want a bunch of candles.
Yeah, I just want romance.
Okay, so today, like I was saying, we are going to discuss An American Marriage by Tayari Jones, a novel. I'm going to give just, the synopsis. As we do. I like to go to Storygraph, so this is with Storygraph, how they wrap it up. Newlyweds, Celestial and Roy are the embodiment of both the American dream and the New South. He is a young executive, and she is an artist on the brink of an exciting career. But as they settle into their routine of their life together, they are ripped apart by circumstances neither of them could have imagined. In this deft exploration of love, loyalty, race, justice, and both black masculinity and black womanhood in 21st century America, Jones achieves that most elusive of all literary goals, the great American novel. Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
I agree with that, too.
I agree with that.
Because it went on a twist and turn in places and spaces I did not expect it to go. When I didn't know what was going to tear them apart, but when it happened, I was like,
yeah.
Ew, that's crazy.
Yeah.
LOL, you wild, though.
It's wild how, like, it's full of twists. Because even the ending, like you said, is, like, a twist.
Yeah.
That, like, but, like, it's not a twist. It is a twist. But, like, it's one of those things where it's, like, it's a situation where, like, truly anything could happen.
Yes.
So I feel like there's no way for it to not be a twist, which is a shout out to her writing. Like, she knew how to, like the pen was wild with this one. Like, she was
tripping.
She had something to say.
The South had something to say for real.
No, for real. It was, so, thinking about, I thought about, one of my other favorite books that maybe I'll bring up every once in a while that maybe I also do want to do on here is Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. And it's about like this friendship that starts to become more than a friendship, but not. There's a third character in there that was in the synopsis named Andre, who's kind of in that situation with Celestial. And then Roy and Celestial are in a pretty legit situation.
Yes.
And then here comes the prison industrial complex.
Yes.
And here comes, again, black manhood.
Yes.
And then how it affects the black man.
Yes.
Mentally.
Yes.
Physically. But emotionally. But then also directly via the pipeline connects and affects the black woman physically, mentally, emotionally. Yeah. It's like I almost describe it as an adult version of The Hate You Give in a lot of ways.
That's a very good description, actually.
It's like if you want to think about it in a non marital situation, but like just like how again the system kind of jacks us up and really removes love from us. Like specifically, like it's designed to like remove any sense of humanity from us in any way, shape, or form. I continue to think about just the role that played in their lives. And I still don't even know if I've fully like formulated a question beyond just how do you do this? Because I also, okay, before I get there, I also want to go back to, of course, again, we're talking about history, right? Yeah. And the prison industrial complex is a formation of something that was once before. Like energy is never destroyed, it's only transformed and transferred and so forth, right? So the energy has gone from slavery to PIC. So given all of that, like let's keep in mind here, like we're all still under a level of some sort of observation and just waiting for us to slip up so that they can contain us and put us back in this literal box. You know, so we're living and we're dealing with all of that today and in a way that looks very different because we are living in a place where we do have access to our lives. We do have access to our power. We do have access to our freedom. But other people have an issue with that. And we have no idea what they're going to do. And and I feel like that's why I'm asking about like the Black condition. Like, how do we do this? Like, how do we go through this? And to know that we are built on a history that strips families away. The whole family goes on the auction block. All 5 of them go to a different family. Your family immigrates over to America. The kids go in the cages. The husband gets sent back. The woman goes to work. It's like you know, all these type of situations. It's like
how do we?
You know, I don't even know. Like again, I'm still trying to find a question about this because it's just so historically overwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you have 400 years of something that's just been happening to you, I don't know if you know any other way to be.
Yeah. And
so you just do. Because if you don't do, you break. And if you break, your family breaks. So I think I've been having this conversation too with my friends that if the luxury of unpacking, and when I say luxury, I use that word loosely, not luxury in the sense of like you can't do it. It's when you unpack everything that has happened to you, your family, by extension, then your family, your community, then your community, all of us all here in community in this country, and then you unpack all of that. It has the ability and possibility to break you where you cannot get up again. And unfortunately, we live in this capitalist system that if you do break, then that means you can't go to work and your family can't eat, you can't eat. You don't get the luxury of breaking because that break deserves a break to be in your own space and process all those feelings. I don't know how. I just think we keep pushing on and then we don't think about it. But I think it's now manifesting itself in ways where people don't believe that racism, systematic racism, all of that doesn't exist. And no one wants to feel oppressed or being a victim. And it's not being a victim. It's the history of the circumstances of our situation. And now we lend ourselves to this when we just keep pushing on and push on. Now these babies are not understanding the complexities of our history and what we mean by that.
Yeah. Because it is, I mean, that's the thing. Complexity is the word. Like, it goes.
It's so complex.
You know, one of the, it's interesting because I think sometimes I'm like, okay, are we talking too much about America sometimes, like on the power, what have you? But I'm like, no, because we try to get specific.
Yes.
And each book gives us an opportunity to get specific with it because there are so many, and it talks about America, and there's so many things to get specific about. Yeah. Like I feel like people get overwhelmed with the complexity of, it's so funny, the prison industrial complex.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it is so intricate. Like there are many roots in there.
Right. And like, look, anti-blackness is definitely global, but slavery at the scale that it was formed in America with the intent. America chattel slavery with this intent has never been replicated globally.
Yeah, never. No.
the way it breaks apart families and the unit of family and the unit of community. When you attack a person's community, you're attacking everything about them. Their economics, their school system, their everything. Mm-hmm. And they broke this. They tried to attempt to break this woman. Yeah. In her marriage. I mean, I don't want to give it away, but
right, yeah. But like it's just because you brought that up. I think another book to highlight would be then Caste.
Yes,
by Isabel Wilkerson.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
Wilkerson, because she's she breaks down how like those three, like America, I think like Germany and India, right? Mm-hmm. These three caste systems that have shaped their own version of like slavery and their wars and their classism and policy, so forth, and the foundation that they were built on and how they're still going on today. Yeah, I think that's another good book to highlight for the breakdown of just how it is. I mean, because it is like, it's interesting because this land was built that way a certain level of people could completely have luxury and not have to discuss or debate with luxury. It's like, it's a privilege. It's something like that, even if it's, I don't know, it's a very complicated moment given the way that the system is working. Yes. Right? I also, another thing that came up for me naturally, I was thinking about, I was like, old flames versus new flames. Because it's so, it's so interesting. Like, I think for me, I am in a place of like, I've kind of reached a place for a few years now of like, what does it mean to cut cords? What does it mean to detach from something? But then also, what does it mean to like really reinforce those cords? What does it mean to really like stitch in even more layers and more fabric? But then how do you, like when someone else cuts the cord and like you had no say in it, that hurts. That's something else. Yeah. But even if like neither one of you had like this is like what they went, like they were separated, but not in a divorce sense. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's, and then here comes old boy. Yes. And so I'm like, it really is, I thought about like the balance of like hope and healing. Do you hope for something more and wait for your opportunity? Or do you heal and let yourself find your own thing? But also, what if you're just so sure, that ambition factor is just so sure internally that it's like, this is right. Yeah. That you yourself become a part of the problem and start to also shake up this Black woman's world. Yeah. And it's also realistic. It's very realistic. Because it's like, do you wait around or do you move on? Right. Because like you still, as this is happening, time is moving on, and your body as a woman is also moving. Yeah. So if the goal is to have children yourself biologically, what do you do with that too? Do you have to cut because you don't have a choice? The choice is already made for you. Which I think happens a lot to Black people in America, where a lot of choices are just made for us sometimes versus the choices are up to our discretion. And I think that's what's so triggering about this book. Yeah. So what do you do with that? Marriage looks a lot of different ways. It does. It always, I want to say it always has. It always has. It always has. Yes. But I think like many things today, marriage. Right. We like many things today, we're finally letting people do what they want to do, basically. And so I feel like, wow, this is so hard to talk about without spoilers. But like, it is so interesting. But like, just the triangle that our three characters find themselves in. Which is something that's a romantic trope right there. The triangle. Whether I feel a way though about the little triangle because I felt like that man was waiting. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like that's that hope factor versus the healing. Dirty Mackin. It was given Dirty Mac. Yeah, no, it was like, that's what I'm saying. Like for me, his actions were very scary and very like not like. Nah, like I'm giving you a mean side eye, and then you fell for it, sis. No. I mean, again, like we can do a little touch because this is really hard. But like, this is my point of like the hope versus healing, the old flame versus the new flame. It's like, because again, Celestial does have that battle of like my body, like black, like, you know, black womanhood is on a clock of some sort, you know what I mean? So like it has to, like, I'm robbed of almost a decade. Like, come on now, like, it's like just those decisions
of love, of touch, like
just having to. So like, you know, when the old flame comes back, is there a way, like how hard is that to like try to spark something up, because you're now in a place that's so different, so vulnerable, you've never been here before, you're exposed. You know, it feels like, you know, it's like your protector's been removed.
And then now somebody else is turning into kind of like presenting themselves as a protector, but they might be a predator.
I mean, and that's because that's the energy it gives.
Yeah, it does give that.
That's what I'm saying. He's like in the waiting, like in the wings. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I did come across that one time, and it was just so, I was like,
yeah, you don't know it because you're so vulnerable that you need it, but you feel as though you need it's this, whatever this is. And then when you look back on it, you're like, I don't know if I really bang with that. I feels away.
Because lust is also a big thing.
Yeah.
Like natural and very natural. Yeah. Feeling and happening.
Forbiddenness. People like
forbiddenness is also a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like, there's a lot of, I thought about forgiveness a lot too. Like, you have to forgive yourself for whatever it is that you're experiencing, whatever you're going through, whatever's getting ready to pop off, and like heal. Like, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like you have to have the hope that
in time to heal. Because moving on to something else that quick.
It's so, but you also, you don't know. It's so.
But again, healing takes like moving on, not moving on in a negative way, moving on in the sense of like, are you moving too fast that you're not really ready to move yet? Yeah. Which I think is a lot of it in blackness. Like, sometimes we might be trying to just move on, but we don't realize every single time we move, we're also still leaving a piece of that trauma.
Very true. Very true. And I think for the black community, marriage is so important. Yes. And it's like, whenever we see it, we just want it to win. Mm-hmm. And that's why we inherently start to dislike Andre characters. Yeah. Because there's already enough for like Celestial and Roy to like go through. Yeah. So it's like, we just want them to win. But then like we start to read on paper like the real, like you want them to win so bad, but then next thing you know, you're reading something that you didn't struggle with, and it's like, oh my God. Like, what is she going to do? What is he going to do? What are they going to do? What is, and not necessarily from like a historical context, but why is marriage so important to the black community specifically? Like, what's...
Because we weren't allowed to.
But like emotionally speaking, like, because we could, again, marriage looks a lot of different ways, partnership looks a lot of different ways, love looks a lot of different ways. So it's like, now that we know and we are working towards it, I would still say that it is still something that we, even in our generation, is still like something we want. It's a goal. It's
there's a lot of different factors. I think one, in America, when you're married, you get tax benefits for being married, and for your marriage to look a certain way. As we're talking about this, there's a book called The Whiteness of Wealth, and is by a tax law professor, black woman, and she talks about marriage and what it looks like, especially how it's codified in the tax code and how that benefits you if you are married. And so when you hold that economic advancement, although it is love, sometimes, marriage is a business arrangement. But when you move forward in that, like, there's certain things that you get from being officially married. But I think being married for black people, one, it symbolizes, like I said, the economic part. It also symbolizes something that we weren't allowed to do. That's why jumping the broom. Oh, that's a do. That's a massive do.
That's a massive do for
massive do for me, jumping the broom.
Yeah, me too, honestly, yeah.
And when you have someone who rips apart family, it's like this system, having something that is under the eyes of God and his protection, I think that's what black people try to aspire to.
Yeah. I think we just also want that personal feeling of like, we see ourselves in someone else's eyes.
Our love is valid.
Our love is valid. We feel like we earned it. We feel like we deserved it. We feel like we just have it. It's us. It's within us.
We're human.
We're human. So I feel for me, it's like it's a continuing fight for love and like for our like self-love as well as partnered love. Like I feel like if a good what I would determine as good marriages that I've seen, both people are so massively themselves, but they have this thing that it's like only they have to get, and they do get it and have gotten it for however many years. And I think there's something like when you look at somebody specific, I think it's something that they show you and that you show them that is like that connection. I feel like Black people want that visibility still. Like they want that I am here, I am feeling, I am.
I have feelings.
I have feelings, Yeah, there's something.
And winning with love.
Yeah.
And winning with love.
Yeah, and then it's like, and so specifically for marriage, that's like a confirmation on that.
Yeah.
Like that's okay, I'm done.
Yep.
Like, it's like, I's married now.
I's married now. You got the ring, you got the right.
Oh, I cannot wait to see Color Purple. By the way.
Me too.
Like, the junk looks like it's gonna be dope.
Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm obsessed.
Obsessed, yes.
Yes, and Fantasia was so good in the Broadway performance, so.
Hands down.
So good, so good.
And I think that is it for this episode of But Make It Books.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much for
heavy.
another one. It was a little, we didn't,
It was so hard not to spoil, so you guys have to read it.
Yeah, it's hard not to spoil, and please do read it, because I think, again, like, just the importance of marriage and like how many of us come from broken homes, and it just goes so deep, and it's like this just shows so many layers. This book just shows so many layers of
choice.
Yeah, it's so good. Go read the Great American Novel, because I intend down on that statement for sure. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. We're growing, and we can only grow if you join us in that process. So please do. We appreciate you for all the help so far. Any last things from you?
No, just keep healing, y'all. Bookishly.
Bookishly healing, and we're on our way.
Yes.
Take care, everybody.
All right, peace, y'all. Hey y'all, it's Niccara. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. If you like it, please make sure you review, rate, and subscribe to our podcast. Of course, sharing is caring, so make sure you share with your friends and let everyone know to come into Charm City Books to get our recommendation. And thank you so much for listening again, and I'll see y'all. Be good.